Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me for Best Deluxe Edition Album Reissues of 2020. This is going to be a top 10 countdown. The only real criteria here is that this had to be an original album that has been reissued in some sort of deluxe edition. We'll get into what all of that means shortly, but before we go any further, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button for me. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with the Best Deluxe Edition album reissues of 2020. Now, I've got a couple honorable mentions that I want to talk about real quick before we jump into the top 10. Gwar has their Scumdogs of the Universe. It's a 30th anniversary edition of the album. They weren't very happy with the original release, both the art and the sound of it. So this one here in particular, they've updated the album art as well as a remix and remaster of the album. And then we've got Iggy Pop, The Bowie Years. And while this one wouldn't immediately seem to be what I'm talking about with it being an album that has been reissued as a deluxe edition, this one here has in it The Idiot and Lust for Life. Those two albums, they were done with Bowie. They have been boxed together now under the Bowie Years. So those have been reissued in a deluxe edition as part of that box. And the same goes for this one, Def Leppard, The Early Years, 79 to 81. This one here features their first two albums and then flushes out with a bunch of bonus material. But the reason neither of those made the list is they aren't true single album that has been reissued as a deluxe edition. So I did want to mention those because I thought they were pretty stellar in what they are, and they do include original albums. But kicking things off at number 10 for the Best Deluxe Edition album reissues of 2020, we've got Keith Richards and the Expensive Winos live at the Hollywood Palladium. So this was originally released 29 years ago in 1991. It was recorded from a 1988 show on his first solo tour. The album has been remastered and it's beautifully packaged in this 12-page media book. Unfortunately, there's no bonus material as part of this. It's just really the packaging, the remastering on this one. There is a super deluxe edition that does add 3 bonus live tracks to it with a whole bunch of memorabilia, but other than that, there really isn't anything bonus to it. Hence the reason it comes in at number 10. Okay, number 9 though. Kix, Midnight Dynamite Relit. This one here just came out. It was their third album, originally released 35 years ago in 1985, if you can believe that. Hard to believe for me at least. The album's been remixed and remastered by original producer Beau Hill. So in this version of it, the remix is done really well. The vocals jump out of this now, in my opinion. The guitars are much cleaner without all the reverb and studio trickery that they did back in the 80s. To me, the overall mix on this is much brighter, and it does not sound as dated as the original mix. There's also a second disc included that has the original demos for the album on it, so it's a 2-disc set. All right, coming in at number 8, we've got The Replacements, Pleased to Meet Me. This one here was their 5th studio album at the time, and it was originally released 33 years ago in 1987. The packaging features the album remastered, B-sides, demos, outtakes, and rough mixes, and it's spread across 55 tracks and 3 CDs. It includes the Blackberry Way demos, which feature some of Bob Stinson's last recordings with the band before he passed away. There's also 1 LP included in it, and the cool thing is it doesn't just duplicate the standard album, it actually puts the rough mixes of the album on the vinyl, and I thought that was pretty cool, and there's a really nice book that goes along with that. Okay, coming in at number 7, Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love. This was their 3rd studio album at the time. It was originally released 31 years ago, 1989. And this package here features 5 CDs in it. Disc 1 is the original album remastered. Then we got Disc 2, it's called The Sun, and it's got 45s and B-sides on it. Disc 3 is called The Moon, and it's got radio edits and early mixes. Disc 4 is called The Wind, and it's got demos, diversions, and jams. And then disc 5 is called The Rain, and it's a Blu-ray audio disc that features mix done by Steve Wilson in 5.1 surround. This one also features a very cool, well done softcover book that comes with it. And my favorite thing that's in there is a replica of a tour book from that tour at the time. Okay, coming in at number 6, we've got Pantera Reinventing the Steel. You can already see they've redone the cover of this one to be different than the original heyday of the album itself. This one came out in 2000, and it was the 9th studio album for them at the time. Now remember, the band goes all the way back to 1983. They had put out 4 studio albums before Cowboys from Hell, which is what most people think is the first album, but it's actually not. This is the 20th anniversary for the album. The packaging includes 3 CDs. Disc 1 is a new mix by original producer Terry Date. The new mix on this is brighter, but everything seems to sort of be at the same level on it. The sounds are too even without the instruments really being given a chance to stand out, in my opinion. The original mix, though, while not as bright, the instrumentation is very clear, clearly, to the back with the vocals up front in it. And so, to me, there's a real discernible difference between this new mix and the old mix that's on here. Now, luckily, disc 2 in here is the original album remastered. So you get that new mix, you get the original album mix itself. I still prefer the original, but it's nice to hear this alternative version that they have done. And the disc 2 with the remastered album also has 4 radio versions of songs from the album. Disc 3 is the one that I think is the valuable one in here. It's got non-album tracks, covers, rough mixes. There's 15 tracks total. 2 songs are from soundtracks, 3 cover songs, and 10 rough instrumental mixes of the album. And that's what I actually found to be the most interesting, were those rough instrumental mixes. You really get to hear the great guitar work of Dimebag Darrell on here. Okay, we're down to the top 5 here. Coming in at number 5 is U2's All That You Can't Leave Behind. This was their 10th studio album at the time. It came out 20 years ago in 2000. There's 5 CDs that are part of this. Disc 1 is the remastered album. Disc 2 is 9 tracks of B-sides, outtakes, and alternate versions. Disc 3 and 4 is from the Elevation Tour, a show in Boston, 19-track complete live show. It's included. It's been unreleased until now. And then Disc 5 in here features 11 remixes, 4 of which are previously unreleased. Then there's also a travel log photo book from Anton Corbijn, and he does some interesting notation in the margins of what was going on when he took those photos. So kind of an interesting way to get information about this, not the typical history from recording in the studio or that sort of a thing. There's also a very nice double-sided poster included. Okay, coming in at number 4. Pink Floyd, Delicate Sound of Thunder. This was originally released in 1988, and it was first remixed and remastered as part of, in 2019, as part of the later years box set that you can see behind me there. That's actually why I've got it there in our view, not just because it's a great, beautiful looking box set, but it is. So it was included originally in that box set, but it's actually now been broken out on its own, to be presented sort of in all its own glory with its own updated artwork and everything like that, different than the original one. And so this one here, they've actually added 8 additional songs that were not on the original release in 1988. There's also a box set that gathers together these 2 live discs, as well as the Blu-ray and DVD, and a nice little package with some other art prints and things like that. So there is a full-on deluxe edition box set version just for Delicate Sound of Thunder if you don't want to pick up the entire later years box set. Okay, coming in at number 3, the Rolling Stones' Goat's Head Soup 13th studio album, originally released 47 years ago in 1973. This one here is a 2 CD edition of it, but there's also a deluxe 3 CD and 1 Blu-ray audio edition. Disc 1 is the remastered album. Disc 2 is 10 tracks of that have collection of rarities and alternate mixes, and it features 3 previously unreleased songs, including Scarlet, which features Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin on it. I mean, how much better can you get than that? You got the Rolling Stones featuring Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin on guitar. Worth it right there just for that. Disc 3 in the deluxe edition is the Brussels Affair Live from 1973. And then there is a Blu-ray audio disc that has high-res files of the original album. I opted just to pick up the 2-disc edition. I didn't need another live album or the Blu-ray audio, but there is a more deluxe edition version out there if you're interested. All right, coming in at number 2, we've got The Doors, Morrison Hotel. This one here was their 5th studio album at the time and released 50 years ago in 1970. So this one here is a 1 LP and 2 CD set. The LP and CD one are both the original album remastered. However, for this release here, they went back and restored the original intended stereo mixes to it as well. They went back to the original mastering EQ sheets. At the time, they had altered these due to the recording mastering process that was needed for an LP at the time, but they have since restored that, and it's really great to hear these. They also went back in and fixed some of the recorder speeds that have been that were off at the time. They actually fixed those now, so it's great to get that done as well. And then CD2, Mysterious Union. This one here is sort of the creme de la creme of this. It's basically comprised of sessions for 2 songs, Queen of the Highway and Roadhouse Blues. Track 5, Queen of the Highway, take number 14, was recorded without Robbie Krieger at the time. However, he actually went back in and recorded guitar today for that. So kind of like getting a new track there almost. And then there's also a couple cover songs included on here. Track 12, Money, That's What I Want, and track 13, Rock Me Baby. So pretty good and very nicely done book as well with that. Okay, and coming in at number 1, probably no surprise with the shirt that I'm wearing, Tom Petty, all right, Wildflowers and all the rest. So the album itself was originally released 26 years ago in 1994. The album was supposed to be a double album at the time, but this packaging here rectifies that, adds all that back into what is called the All the Rest disc. So there is a 2 CD version of this. There's also this one here, which is a 4 CD edition, and the one I'm going to talk about, the 5 CD Super Deluxe edition. This one here is a 5-disc version featuring 70 tracks with 9 unreleased. So disc 1 is called Wildflowers, of course, 15-track original album remastered. Disc 2 is All the Rest, the 2nd disc that was part of that double album. 10 remaining tracks that form that. Then we've got disc 3, home recordings. So this shows an intimate alternate sort of take on what the album could have been. And then disc 4 is Wildflowers Live. It's got some really great inspired performances that don't always follow the blueprint of the album, which is what I like. And then we've got Finding Wildflowers, which is the disc 5 in here, alternate versions of songs from Wildflowers, where the band is trying to figure out what's going on and how they're going to arrange it. And so in all, this is a real stellar presentation showing the wide range of the whole album and how it came to be, and that is why this became my number 1 choice for this. All right, so bottom line, 2020 was an awful year, but a major milestone for lots of bands with albums turning 20, 30, 40, even 50 years old. With these releases, it really shows how much great stuff is still in the vaults, and I can only imagine what's coming in the future. So, here's to 2021 and beyond, and we'll have to wait and see what we get. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please let me know your thoughts. Leave your comments. Hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.